So, reading Theodore Dalrymple's Life at the Bottom got me thinking about a few things regarding the state of current culture and you could say the lack thereof. And the more I look around, the less I see any sort of culture at all, culture in the sense of a high culture. And I think, what was the last movie that I saw that I really enjoyed? What was the last TV show? What was the last song I heard on the radio that was worth listening to? And, something will come along that you can tolerate, but as far as something that you would really consider art, or even high art, it's just not there anymore. And this isn't just due to being a curmudgeon. I mean, I'm young. I'm not old enough to hate on anything that's new just yet, and I'm not so black pilled that I can't enjoy any sort of media if it has any kind of anti-white sentiment. I mean, I can look past that to a degree. But even if you can look past that, everything just sucks. There is nothing good. There is nothing really worth watching. There's nothing enjoyable in pop culture. I mean, you can sort of find things underground. There's still good music coming out, but nothing that is actually promoted in a popular setting is remotely good and is reflective of our overall culture, that this is what is promoted, this is what we're seeing, this is what we are given, and it all sucks. I mean, it is really, really bad, and I would think that a lot of people would be hard-pressed to disagree with this. Even if you do like newer things, can you really say that they're comparable to older things? If you are a person that enjoys Marvel movies, can you really tell me that they're on par with cinema of Scorsese, in the 90s? Anything like that? Can you say that music coming out today is anywhere as good as music that came out in the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Even early 2000s had much better music. And this is the really sad thing, is what we're seeing is that we're getting degeneration of degeneration. I mean, look at the current lineup of rappers that we're seeing. This is already a degenerated form of music, rap coming from the stems of jazz, which had the stems of classical and things like that. And now we have mumble rap, and even the kids listening today, it's actually gotten worse than that. It's worse than mumble rap. It's just shit. And as a teacher and listening to what these kids listen to is just totally unlistenable. And to call it culture, to call it art, to call it anything is just such a far cry from what art and culture really are. And everything is getting significantly worse. And this is how it ties back to Life at the Bottom. We see how it's this constant upward climb of culture. We have culture that is being driven from the lowest rungs of society. We have this ghetto culture that is now becoming the mainstream popular culture. And I think all of us are guilty of this to some degree. I mean, our slang is adapted from black ghetto slang. You start saying things almost ironically, and they work their way into the lexicon. I mean, I remember when I was 14 and I started saying swag, and it was you don't realize that you're really just succumbing to this ghettoification of our culture. And you could look at white culture and popular culture as just black culture with a slight delay of about 2 to 3 years. And now you have all the kids saying things like lit, kids saying things like, I don't even know what else. But plenty of examples of this. And you see you have this constantly pushing force from the bottom that is driving our culture. And on top of that, it's becoming more and more degenerated, not just in language, but in dress. I mean, our dress is getting progressively worse. And this is partially due to, a lack of conservative values, but also in general, there is just no pride in our appearance. I mean, there is no actually nice looking clothes anymore. I mean, just look at this picture I have up here. I mean, is any of this considered, nice, attractive clothing? It's almost like you're trying to look as obnoxious as possible. There is no culture here. There is no high fashion in the way that it existed, even something like 30, 40 years ago. So yeah, you have this constant pressing upward, and it comes in music, it comes in movies, it comes in dress, it comes in behavior. And Dalrymple talked a lot about tattoos and how tattoos have gotten so prevalent. I see so many young kids with tattoos to the point where it's alarming, and you have to ask what parents are allowing these kids to do these things to their body, and also what values do these parents have that they even think that it's okay as well. I mean, for one, it's okay to say that a kid doesn't really understand what they're doing, but for the parent to allow it really shows a degeneration of culture throughout, that this is even acceptable, that you can even, and there used to be a point where if you had a tattoo anywhere that was visible, you would not get a job. I mean, plenty of my coworkers have visible tattoos, plenty of my students have visible tattoos. It's very, very degenerated. And ultimately, as opposed to just sounding like a stuck-up old boomer, you can bring this argument together and say that a society is only as good as its culture. And if our culture is degenerating and nothing is enjoyable and everything sucks, that is a perfect reflection of our society as a whole. And our society is not going to recover, it is not going to be salvageable until our culture starts to improve. And I'm not saying that it will. In fact, it will probably only get worse. And this is just a symptom of the greater disease that is, an impending collapse of civilization. I mean, this is decadence. This is disgusting. And I don't think there's a better example of this than the WAP. And I know that this is a very, very tired point, and plenty of people have talked about this, but to take a different angle, I mean, obviously we know it's disgusting, degenerate, and all of these things, but this has been elevated to the point, you see this type of thing at the Grammys. This used to be these things, these Academy Awards, these Grammy Awards, these used to be snapshots of our culture. This was how the world perceived America and the West, and this is what we were showing to the world. This was our best face that we were putting forward, and this is what we have now. Is this the way we want to be viewed on a world scale? I mean, do you think China is seeing this, and do you think that they're scared of the U.S. anymore? Do you think Russia is seeing this? Do you think this is striking fear into the hearts of them? Not to say that a nation is to be feared, but a nation should be respected. And you can look at things like the ads that are coming out of the CIA and the military now that are just full of, globo-homo type LGBT propaganda. And this is the image that we are projecting to the world. And as long as this image is disgraceful, and this image is not even not even full of any level of self-respect, self-deprecating to a degree, this is the perfect image of our culture. This is a total reflection of that, a reflection of our society, and how nobody has any respect for themselves. Everybody is a walking zombie, a walking consumer product. Everybody is a total brain-dead moron. And the easiest way to see that is with the culture. And I would love anybody to tell me what is redeemable, what is good about this culture. And I think that plenty of the people that are looking at this and saying, yes, this is good, yes, this is funny, this is what we want to see. I don't think anybody legitimately believes that. Even your leftist, even your feminist type, even your totally liberalized individual, they're just coping when they say that this is the peak culture. Because by all metrics, this is totally degenerated. If you compare anything to past centuries, are you going to really say that this is how you want Western culture to be reflected? If you were to send, 8 songs and 8 movies and 8 photographs into space, is this one of the photographs that you want to send to space for possible extraterrestrials to see as a reflection of the human race? And I don't think anybody would possibly say yes, even if they were the most liberalized, pause type of person that you could imagine. They're just totally coping if they think that this is a good thing. And if we can all get on the same page and agree that the culture is totally on a downhill slide, maybe we can finally start to address what is making the culture on that slide and how we can start to improve the society that we live in.